Augustinians, the first reading from today's Mass is very important because that's the basis of our rule of life for St. Augustine, that we live in community, we share our lives with one another, and we're responsible for one another, and we're allowed to have stuff according to each one's needs. Now, being on the joking side of it, we could always get into discussion, what's a need and a want, which is always an interesting discussion. Think of your kids. Mommy, I want this. And you always say, do you really need it? Well, that also happens in adult communities going forward. And as we celebrate today, the first Sunday of Easter, I was reflecting on the next week, this week, as we celebrated Easter every day, and as we get all the way to the Easter season to Pentecost, we have a special time in the church where they call it mystagogy. And that's a word that is very interesting, and it means learning to live the mystery of what we believe. Learning or understanding and living the mystery of what our faith is and what we understand that happened over the Easter Triduum and then on Easter Sunday. And I'm sure all of us on Easter, we probably, if you did what I did, I went up to my niece's house, and we had a great time. She did a brunch. She should be a professional. My God, was it good. And I forgot one thing. She does her own horseradish. Oh my God. I'm seeing her tomorrow, and I called her name is Tiffany. I go, Tiffany, do you love your uncle? Do you still have some horseradish that you could you bring with you, when we're going out? She goes, oh yeah, Uncle Bill, no problem, and all that. Why I'm thinking about that is because on Easter, when we're gathered together, we're there to celebrate. We kind of accept, and we have gone and we've come together, and hopefully we're doing that not only to have the good food and to be with one another, but we do it because we're saying that as we share this meal, as we come together, there's a new part of our lives that's beginning and going forward. Now, in the gospel reading with Thomas the Doubter, we have one that says, well, unless I see the marks on his body and stuff, I'm not going to believe. And for some reason, I was just reflecting on that a little bit in my own way. How is it that for me, I don't always see in the other person their presence of Jesus, because I don't look for those marks of how the Lord is present in their life? Maybe it's not the crown of thorns or the side or the nail holes in the hands and in the feet, but what the Lord was calling those disciples to do when they were locked in the room because they were afraid was begin to share with one another their experiences of that Lord to help them move forward and to go out, because he gave them what was also called the Great Commission today. Go and do what I tell you to do. Forgive sins with one another. And I want to bet, and I would propose that even on our joyous Easter celebrations, in some families or with some members of our family, we needed to bite our tongues. Take a deep breath, not respond the way we want to. And I propose to you that's probably getting in touch with the nail marks and stuff, because we're supposed to be nice on Easter. We're not supposed to confront one another. And we're not supposed to be that we're not always together. But then after Easter, we're called to, well, how do I then reconcile with that person? Because that's what the Lord was talking about. How is it that I acknowledge that there may be something between us that needs to be worked on? Because that's this next 40 days, or now 30-something after the first week, that we're asked to live that mystery in a very different way. And in a very special way, I think, we're all doubting Thomases when we put on our blinders and are not able to see God's presence in our midst. Because a lot of times we're going to look for that presence in a way that is comfortable for me, that goes with my thinking of how the Lord should work, that goes the way I want the world to be, instead of seeing what the Lord died for, that every one of us is dignified in the eyes of the Lord. Every one of us is on a journey, and when we share that journey, we do it better because we're talking to one another and understanding with one another. And then we are able to receive that peace that he offers, because when we make peace with one another, there's just a good feeling at times that we have. So today, and I would think also that coincides great with the Lord as we celebrate also is in divine mercy. How merciful are we after going through our Lent, after living our Easter Triduum? How merciful are we now that we're not doing something under a guise of Lent of sacrificing, but have we incorporated being merciful in our lives to the extent that Jesus was? That he forgave the people that killed him on the cross, that he invited the outcast into a new relationship, that he didn't yell at Thomas in the upper room, but rather out of love and kindness showed him his hands and his side to say, yes, I want you to be in a relationship with me that is built on peace and is built on the fact that when we forgive one another, we grow in the love of the Lord.